Something else you were saying before was really interesting about there are other people involved. And I think for me, learning online brings with it a really diverse skill set required of the teacher, such that the academic role is sort of disaggregated. It's not one expert who is both the subject matter expert and the learning design expert and the technology expert and the marker and everything. It allows us to chunk off bits of that role to the people who are best to do it.
I agree. We've done a forum in the pharmacy faculty where we had subject experts acting as mentors to students in the area of subject expertise. But when the questions that the students had in that forum were about using technologies such as using the EndNote system, then someone with that particular expertise could answer that. And it's like not asking a professor of microbiology to fix the photocopier. You can actually, when you've got an online forum, the appropriate question can be directed to or answered by the most appropriate person for that job.
Yeah, and you can even bring in other people. You can bring in the learning skills advisors, language and learning people, librarians, whoever the expert is, because the subject matter expert, in addition to not sort of wasting their time or whatever, they're also not the expert on how to access the information in that field necessarily.
That's right. We don't want to dilute our subject matter expert by getting them to do something on learning skills. We also want to pass that question to the specialist, the learning skills specialist. So an online forum allows a much greater contribution of different expertise from different people.
Can I give a counterpoint then? So I'm just going to argue a bit against things. I think we, in surrendering control a little bit, we need to do this carefully because students are not necessarily yet prepared to completely self-regulate. So we need to be able to still keep track of how students are progressing on stuff. We don't just surrender a unit to them and say, go and learn however you want. We still have clear milestones. We still track how much work they're doing on stuff, whether they've handed in tasks, etc. And in a sense, we have more control in those ways.
We do, and if there's an online environment where people are doing some of these formative tasks, then it's possible for the unit coordinator to have an overview and to be able to comment on what's going on, because some of these things are more transparent. For example, if you're using project management software for example, for work experience students, they might be using some project management software, and then the subject matter expert the unit coordinator might be able to oversee that and see what's going on as it goes, because they can see it happening in real time in that online forum.
I think as well, the year levels matter a lot here. The degree of autonomy that we give students in face-to-face teaching varies from first year to third year to postgrad, and it needs to in online teaching as well.
Yes, so we do want to be able to help students to build up their independent learning, and certainly by the end of their degree, you want them to be able to participate in a learning environment that isn't controlled by an academic, but in fact to be learning from their own experiences, from their workplace and from the world around them. So ideally, control is something that you gradually relinquish during a learning design program.